the Supreme Lord granted Savitri the boons that she asked, the peace, the power, the bliss. He offered her, he gave her all that for earth and men. He told her, what thou hast asked, it is my will. Your voice expresses my voice. And everything that you've asked, it will be worked out in time because time is my faithful executor. It carries out my will. And then he told Savitri what this great tapasya of hers will mean, first of all, for herself personally. What will be her experience in future? Perhaps we can say it is the experience of the supramental being. And then he tells her, so now you can return to earth with Satyavan. And he explains what is the role of Satyavan and of Savitri, and what their return to earth together will mean in the future for humanity. It's a long prophecy, and it ends telling that the earthly life will become the life divine. And then Savitri experiences herself descending from this great height, this transcendent realm beyond the universe, through many, 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 many planes, descending, and she's carrying with her the soul of Satyavan. And finally they enter the attraction of the Earth's gravitational field, and then she falls into a kind of trance and sinks into unconsciousness, he says, as into a pool. The whole atmosphere of Earth embraces her again. That's the end of Book 11. And then we started Book 12, which begins by describing Savitri waking up in her body on the earth, in the forest, just where she had left it. And Satyavan is by her, alive. He's still in trance, and gently she wakes him up, and we read what they say to each other. And where we are reading now, it's the end of what Savitri is saying to Satyavan about their relationship, that I am still what I always was to you. And she describes their partnership. She says, you, Satyavan, are the earth I need, the heaven my thoughts desire, the world I inhabit, and the God I adore. That's where we stopped. And now she continues, thy body is my body's counterpart, whose every limb my answering limb desires, whose heart is key to all my heartbeats. This I am, and thou to me, O Satyavan. Our wedded walk through life begins anew. No gladness lost, no depth of mortal joy. Let us go through this new world that is the same, for it is given back, but it is known, a playing ground and dwelling house of God, who hides himself in bird and beast and man, sweetly to find himself again by love, by oneness. His presence leads the rhythms of life that seek for mutual joy in spite of pain. We have each other found, O Satyavan, in the great light of the discovered soul. Let us go back, for eve is in the skies. Now grief is dead, and serene bliss remains, the heart of all our days forevermore. Lo, all these beings in this wonderful world, let us give joy to all, for joy is ours. For not for ourselves alone our spirits came out of the veil of the unmanifest, out of the deep, immense, unknowable, upon the ignorant breast of dubious earth, into the ways of laboring, seeking men. Two fires that burn towards that parent sun, two rays that travel to the original light, to lead man's soul towards truth and God we are born, to draw the checkered scheme of mortal life into some semblance of the immortal's plan, to shape it closer to an image of God, a little nearer to the idea divine. She closed her arms about his breast and head, as if to keep him on her bosom warm forever through the journeying of the years. So, for a while, they stood entwined, their kiss and passion-tranced embrace, a meeting point in their commingling spirits, one forever, two-souled, two-bodied for the joys of time. Then, hand in hand, they left that solemn place, full now of mute, unusual memories. To the green distance of their sylvan home, returning slowly through the forest's heart. Round them, the afternoon to evening changed. Light slipped down to the brightly sleeping verge, and the birds came back winging to their nests, and day and night leaned to each other's arms. We're going this way. Rosa.
That body is my body's counterpart, whose every limb my answering limb desires, whose heart is key to all my heartbeats. This I am, and thou to me, O Satyavan.
Yes. So this is an affirmation of the divine value of our human love. This oneness that we want to express through the closeness of bodies. She says, your body is the counterpart, the matching piece of my body. And my every limb, my every part of my body desires to feel your body. And your heart is the key to all my heartbeats. This is our relationship. This is what I am to you, and that's what you are to me, O Satyavan. And now we've returned to earth, so our wedded walk, they had been married before, they had a whole year together, no? But that has been interrupted by the death of Satyavan, the experience, the journeys through the subtle worlds. And now this return has happened. So she says, our wedded walk, our walk side by side through life, it begins anew. No gladness is lost, no depth of mortal joy, of this joy of the physical being, which is bound to die, but which nevertheless has a divine significance. I think I explained 2 lines that weren't read. Martin, will you read them?
I continue our litigated.
You read those 2 lines, yeah.
Our wedded walk through life begins anew. No gladness lost, no depth of moral joy.
So I hope this is clear, no? Dhanalakshmi.
Let us go through this new world, that is the sea. For it is given back, but it is known. The playing ground and dwelling house of God, who hides himself in bird and beast and man, sweetly to find himself again by love, by oneness. His presence leads the rhythms of life that seek for mutual joy in spite of pain.
Yes. So they've returned to the place where Satyavan left his body, where Savitri left her body. So now they've returned there, they've woken, they are both alive. She says, now we have to move from this place. Let us go through this world, which is as if new to us, but it's still the same world. This Mother Earth has been given back to us, but now we know it in a different way. Now we know it as a playing ground and dwelling house of God. This is God's playground and his habitation. He inhabits all this. He hides himself in all these forms and appearances. He hides himself in bird and beast and in man. Perhaps it's easier for us to see him in the birds and the beasts, and less easy for us to see him in human beings. But anyway, he's there, no? And he hides himself so that he can experience the joy of finding himself again. He hides himself in one body so that he can re-find himself in another body, sweetly to find himself again by love, by oneness. Gives him this possibility of multiple relationships. His presence is leading all the rhythms of life that are seeking for mutual joy, joy that is shared in spite of pain. You wanted to ask something, Ba? Yeah?
She's saying this as if they both went to a similar experience.
Yes.
But actually only she went through this and maybe understood something or got something. So I don't understand how is it that they both now see that they're both.
No, we at the beginning of this conversation, he says, he remembers, no? Vaguely recollecting wonder. So although he was dead, his soul was conscious, and now that he's come back to the earth, he has a vague memory, and he has asked her to explain what was all that, no? And she's explained it to him. That's on page 717. So it's an experience they've been through together, she more consciously than he, but he's got some kind of memory of it. Dana Lakshmi?
I read.
Oh, you read Bhavana.
We have each other found, O Satyavan, in the great light of the discovered soul. Let us go back, for Eve is in disguise. Now grief is dead, and serene bliss remains, the heart of all our days forevermore.
So we've really found each other. Of course, there's this wonderful meeting in Book 5 where they find each other for the first time. But now they are re-finding each other, or have re-found each other, in that great light of the discovered soul, what we read about in Book 11. But now we're in the epilogue, in the return to earth. Now they have to go back to the human world. So she says, let's go back, because it's evening. And this is very significant. I've said this before, but I'm saying it again. This whole story takes place in one day. It begins before dawn, on the day when Satyavan must die. And Satyavan has died, and they've gone through this great thing together. We've had these flashbacks that told us about how Savitri came to be born, how she went through her yoga. There's this huge, long flashback from the beginning of Book 1, Canto 3, up to the beginning of Book 8. It's just all a vast flashback. Again, at the beginning of Book 8, we find her waking up on the morning when Satyavan must die. So now it's evening on that same day. The moment when he died was at noon, at the hottest hour of the hottest day of that hottest month. No, that's the day of Satyavan's death. Now it's the evening of the same day. So she says, let's return home now. Now grief is dead. And serene bliss. Serene, it means calm and confident and smiling. That serene bliss remains as the heart of all our days forevermore into the future. Patricia.
Lo, all these beings in this wonderful world, let us give joy to all, for joy is ours. For not for ourselves alone our spirits came out of the veil of the unmanifest, out of the deep, immense, unknown, on the ignorant breast of dubious earth, into the ways of laboring, seeking better. Two fires that burn towards that parent sun, two ways that travel to the original.
Of course, she's speaking about herself and Satyavan, but there's a way in which these lines apply to all of us. None of us have come here just for ourselves alone. All of us have come, each of us has come, our souls, our immortal part has come out of the veil of the unmanifest, that hidden world beyond manifestation, out of that deep, immense, unknowable. We have come into this manifestation, the material manifestation. We've come upon the ignorant breast of dubious earth, this earth where everything is doubtful. We've come as human beings into the human life, the ways of men who have to work hard, toil, men who have to seek. But we have come as two fires. Each of us is a fire that's burning back towards that origin from which we came, that parent sun, that original divine energy, light, bliss. Here we are on earth as two rays that are traveling back through the evolutionary journey, back to that original light from which we came. Bar, you will read?
To lead men's soul toward truth and dare, we are born. To draw the checkered scheme of the moral life into some semblance of the immortal plane, to shape it closer to an image of God, little nearer to the idea divine.
Yes. So that's their mission, and perhaps it becomes our mission also when we have found our souls, to help lead the soul of human beings towards truth and God. That's our true reason for being born. And to draw, it's as if this scheme of mortal life, it is checkered, that is, it expresses duality, black and white, together, no? So it has to be somehow drawn together into a harmony that gives at least some semblance, some resemblance or appearance of the immortal's plan for the eventual fulfillment of divine life upon earth. We are here to shape this checkered scheme of mortal life a little closer to an image of God, a little nearer to what the divine idea, the original divine conception, conceived it as. So this is a gradual process which is going on through evolution, but all of us can participate through our lives towards that.
And taking these lines to Sri Aurobindo and Mother, they had come.
Yes, they have come for that, yes.
True.
Yes, that's what Mother has said about Sri Aurobindo's work. No? She said, I came to India to be with Sri Aurobindo, and I stayed in India to do his work, which is by serving the truth and enlightening mankind to hasten the reign of the divine's love upon earth. So that's the theme of this book also. Joel.
She closed her arms about his breast and head, as if to keep him on her bosom warm, forever through the journey of the years. So for a while they stood entwined, their kiss and passion-cleansed embrace, a meeting point, in their commingling spirits, one forever, two souled, two bodied, for the joys of time.
So she embraces him, his head and breast, as if to keep him worn forever on her bosom, as if his presence should be always there, forever, through the journeying of the years, the journey of time. So for a time they stood there like that, entwined, embraced, and their kiss, their physical kiss, and their passion-tranced embrace, he says, is a meeting point in their commingling spirits. The touching of the bodies is a meeting point within that surrounding spirit, the two who are one forever and who have taken two individual souls and two individual bodies in order to enjoy the joys of time, of relationship, of development and change, of progression through time and space in separate forms.
This word is coming across for the first time, commingling.
Commingling, it means mingling together. When you see this C-O-M or C-O-N together, it means with or together. Commingling. So their spirits are melting into each other. The point where the bodies touch, or the points where the bodies touch, that's a meeting point within their spirits, which are melting into each other. Sergei.
And hand in hand, they left the solid place, full out of new, unusual memories. But the great distance of their Syrian home, returning slowly through the forest heart.
So it's a nice picture, hand in hand. They walk back through the evening light. They left that solemn place which is full of silent, unusual memories, really unusual memories, which we have read about. And they are slowly returning to their sylvan home, their forest home, which is far away in the green distance. They are moving through the heart of the forest, back to the hermitage where Satyavan's parents live. Leela.
Around then, the afternoon to evening changed. Light slipped down to the brightly sleeping bird, and the birds came back winging to their nests. And day and night leaned to each other's arms.
So it's also an embrace, the darkness and the light embracing. And there's that horizon where the light is very intense as the day wanes. The birds returning to their nests for the night. So there's only a couple more pages. Probably we will finish next week. I think we will complete the book probably next week. We'll go on. Slava.
Now, the dusk shadowy trees stood close around, like dreaming spirits, and the lightning, the grey ache, pensive evening have their steps, and from all pointing, the rise and movement scale of the footing matters of the night approaching.
So let's stop at the full stop. Usually we have a full stop always at the end of a line, but here the full stop comes in the middle of the line. So he's describing the scene as the dusk comes. The shadowy trees seem to be very close around, and it's as if they are protective, dreaming spirits. And yet the light is lingering, it's delaying night. There is a grey evening. It's not going to let it become completely dark just yet. The grey-eyed, pensive evening. Pensive means thoughtful. So the evening, thoughtful, calm, as if in contemplation. And it's a grey evening, grey-eyed. That's hearing their steps. And they themselves hear from all points the cries and movements of the four-footed wanderers of the night, all the animals who will be going out hunting after dark. No? They seem to be approaching. Kamala.
Then a human group rose, long and leaning to their solitary days, embedding the charmed wildness of leaves, one sacred to secluded loneliness, with violent breaking of its virgin sleep.
Yes. Suddenly there's a noise of lots of people in that forest. A human rumour came, the noise of people. That sound has long been alien to their days. They haven't heard anything like that for a long time, no? Not for over a year. So that sound seems to invade, to be coming in like an invading army into that charmed wilderness of leaves, no? That has once been sacred to this secluded, secret loneliness. But that noise is breaking in like an invading army with violent breaking of the virgin sleep, the pure, undisturbed sleep of that quiet place in the midst of the forest. There's this strange noise. Sarojini.
Through their screen lost, it depends still and there near fluttering of many voices and the sound of many feet, till on their side broke in as if a colored wave upon the earth. In the brilliant, strenuous, crowded days of man.
Yes. So that sound becomes deeper and stronger as the dusk, the screen of the twilight is deepening and coming nearer and nearer, the sound of many voices and many feet, until finally they can see who is making all this noise, breaking in on the sight of Savitri and Satyavan like a wave of color, breaks in people representing the brilliant, strenuous, crowded days of men, the human life with all its effort and its color and its brightness. This is breaking in upon them in that dusk of evening in the forest. Mila.
Topped by a fairy multitude of lights, a great resplendent of earlier life. Life in its order tumult waveringly came, bringing its stream of unknown faces, thronged with gold-fringed headdresses, gold-loaded
robes,
glittering of ornaments, fluttering of hands, hundreds of hands parted by forest boughs, hundreds of eyes searched the entangled glades.
Yes. So a great resplendent company. These are not just peasants or woodcutters or anything like that. These are people in wonderful golden clothes, and they are carrying lights with them. So above them, these lights are flaring, these torches, many of them. They are representing human life in its ordered tumult. A tumult is a disturbance, a noisy disturbance. But there's some order in it. And they come wavering. They are not just moving purposefully straight forward. The lights are wavering, and the people or the figures are also wavering. Life is wavering. And they are its life is bringing with it a whole stream of unknown faces, people they don't know at all. And this company is thronged, it's full of gold-fringed headdresses and robes. The clothes of those people are embroidered in gold. And they have shining ornaments, long dresses, fluttering hems, and hundreds of them. Hundreds of hands are parting the forest boughs, the branches, in order to pass through. And hundreds of eyes are searching, looking for something in the middle of all this tanglement of trees. Do you like to read?
Calm white clad priests, their brave eyes witness brought strong warriors in their glorious armor shone. The proud hoofed steeds came trampling through the wind.
Yeah, let's pause there. So these are the different kinds of people who are there. There are priests dressed in white, calm. These are priests from the old days. This story is from way, way back. No? They have their serious eyes, grave-eyed. They're serious and calm, but still sweet. They bring that with them. And there are also strong warriors in glorious, shining armor. And there are horses, proud, hoofed steeds, horses, coming trampling through the wood. Trampling, that's the noise and the movement of the horses' hooves. Janaka, you read? You lost the place? All right. Tone, please.
In front, King Yumatsena walked, no more blind, faltering limbs, but his far questing eyes restored to all their confidence in light, took seeingly this imaged outer world. Firmly he trod with monarch step the soil.
Yes. So this is Satyavan's father, who was blind, who was cast out of his kingdom, had to live in the forest as an exile, as a hermit. No? But now he's no longer blind, because during the journey with death, Savitri had won from death the boon, no? That whatever Satyavan had wished and had not for his beautiful life would be granted. And so death had to give what Satyavan had wanted, that his father should receive back his sight and his kingdom. So it has happened. Here he is. Here's King Dyumatsena walking. And he's no longer trembling and wavering and fumbling, no? He's no longer blind, faltering, unsure of where he is. His far questing eyes, he's looking all around. They've been restored to all their confidence in light, their trust in the light. They take seeingly all this outer world imaged in the appearances of matter. So he's walking like a king with monarch steps. A monarch is a ruler. No? So he's walking very powerfully and confidently. Alice.
By him, that queen and mother's anxious face came changed from its habitual burdened look, which in its drooping strength of tired toil had worn the fallen life of those she loved.
Yes. So next to King Dyumatsena is his wife, the queen, the mother of Satyavan. Sri Aurobindo has described her to us a couple of times before and said he describes her as that careworn woman, once a queen. She had been a powerful princess, queen, but then she had to come and live in the forest and look after her blind husband and her young son. So her face has become careworn, anxious. But now her face is changed from that usual burdened look of anxiety and care, which her face had worn in its drooping strength of tired toil. Just in a few words, he describes to us that hard, well, the way that she looks as if she's had such a hard life, drooping. The face is tired with toil and hard work. But nevertheless, there was strength there. She had borne all that difficulty of that life, and she had endured this fallen life, from the life in the palace to the life in the forest of those she loved, her husband and her son. Now it is changed, and you can read Berbel how it looks now.
Her patient paleness were a pensive glow, like evening's subdued gaze of hazing light, departing which foresees sunrise, pearl child.
Yes, so now there's hope in her look. That patient paleness. There's not much lively color in her face, no? But now it wears a pensive glow, a thoughtful glow. There's a glow of hope is there. No? And Sri Aurobindo says that glow on her face is like an evening, a quiet, subdued gaze, a quiet, unassertive gaze of gathered light. The light gets gathered in towards evening. The night is coming, departing, the light is departing. But evening knows that sunrise will come. No? So there's some confidence and hope and happiness. That's how her face looks. She's an elderly woman. She's aged in the forest. But now there's hope for the future. Sunrise, the new dawn, a new life is on its way. Suresh. Sorry, Tom, you wanted to ask something?
I have a question. Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but I have a question about line 258. By him.
By him, by King Dyumatsena. Side by side.
I
The
lost
king.
the word by. Near to him?
Yes, next to him.
Okay.
Side by side.
Sorry.
Singing in quiet splendors of a state, she lives a while who mills upon the coast, the brilliance of her lit preceding gleam, the thoughtful prophecy of thy dawn.
Yes. So this is continuing the comparison of the face of Satyavan's mother with the evening. So the evening sinks towards night in quiet splendors of her sky. Of course, sometimes we have absolutely glorious, brilliant sunsets, but it's not like that. There's something calm and subdued but still there is some splendor, there is some fading sunlight there. So the evening lives a little longer to muse, to absorb and think about that hope that she will give birth to sunrise, to a new dawn. So that the brilliance of the evening with the sunset, the rich receding gleam as the light draws away, is a thoughtful prophecy. It's foretelling the coming of a lyric dawn, a singing dawn. It's lyric, it suggests happiness, joyfulness, but the word is connected with song. And the dawn is signaled by all the animals and birds waking up in the morning and singing. It was described at the beginning of the poem, how they all wake up and sing. So that's what the evening, as she fades away, she's looking forward to that new possibility coming. So
the 9254, departing, which was his sunrise, her child.
Yes.
And the next line also, sinking in quiet splendor of her sky.
Well, here it refers to evening.
The first line, the queen says, foresees sunrise, new dawn in her child Satyavan. Does it mean like that?
Yes, that's what he's hinting at. But if we look at the structure of the sentence, he's not talking about his mother. He's talking about the look in the face of Satyavan's mother. Now, her patient paleness. This is she, the mother of Satyavan. Her patient paleness now is wearing a thoughtful glow, like the last glow of evening. It's like the evening's subdued gaze of gathered light. It's that light is departing, the evening is departing, but it's foreseeing, it's looking forward to the birth of the sunrise. So in that way, the sunrise, the dawn, is like the child of the evening. We'll stop there for today. Thy body is my body's counterpart, whose every limb my answering limb desires, whose heart is key to all my heartbeats. This I am, and thou to me, O Satyavan. Our wedded walk through life begins anew. No gladness lost, no depth of mortal joy. Let us go through this new world that is the same, for it is given back, but it is known, a playing ground and dwelling house of God, who hides himself in bird and beast and man, sweetly to find himself again by love, by oneness. His presence leads the rhythms of life that seek for mutual joy in spite of pain. We have each other found, O Satyavan, in the great light of the discovered soul. Let us go back, for eve is in the skies. Now grief is dead, and serene bliss remains the heart of all our days for evermore. Lo, all these beings in this wonderful world, let us give joy to all, for joy is ours. For not for ourselves alone our spirits came out of the veil of the unmanifest, out of the deep, immense, unknowable, upon the ignorant breast of dubious earth, into the ways of labouring, seeking men, two fires that burn towards that parent sun, two rays that travel to the original light. To lead man's soul towards truth and God we are born, to draw the checkered scheme of mortal life into some semblance of the immortal's plan, to shape it closer to an image of God, a little nearer to the idea divine. She closed her arms about his breast and head, as if to keep him on her bosom worn for ever through the journeying of the years. So for a while they stood entwined, their kiss and passion-tranced embrace, a meeting point in their commingling spirits, one forever, two-souled, two-bodied for the joys of time. Then, hand in hand, they left that solemn place, full now of mute, unusual memories, to the green distance of their sylvan home, returning slowly through the forest's heart. Round them the afternoon to evening changed. Light slipped down to the brightly sleeping verge, and the birds came back winging to their nests. And day and night leaned to each other's arms. Now the dusk, shadowy trees stood close around like dreaming spirits, and delaying night, the grey-eyed, pensive evening heard their steps, and from all points the cries and movements came of the four-footed wanderers of the night approaching. Then a human rumour rose long alien to their solitary days, invading the charmed wilderness of leaves, once sacred to secluded loneliness, with violent breaking of its virgin sleep. Through the screened dusk it deepened still, and there neared floating of many voices, and the sound of many feet, till on their sight broke in, as if a coloured wave upon the eye, the brilliant, strenuous, crowded days of man. Topped by a flaring multitude of lights, a great resplendent company arrived. Life, in its ordered tumult wavering came, bringing its stream of unknown faces, thronged with gold-fringed headdresses, gold-broidered robes, glittering of ornaments, fluttering of hems. Hundreds of hands parted the forest boughs, hundreds of eyes searched the entangled glades. Calm, white-clad priests their grave-eyed sweetness brought, strong warriors in their glorious armour shone. The proud hooved steeds came trampling through the wood. In front King Dyumatsena walked, no more blind, faltering-limbed, but his far-questing eyes, restored to all their confidence in light, took seeingly this imaged outer world. Firmly he trod with monarch step the soil. By him that queen and mother's anxious face came changed from its habitual burdened look, which in its drooping strength of tired toil had borne the fallen life of those she loved. Her patient paleness wore a pensive glow, like evening's subdued gaze of gathered light departing, which foresees sunrise her child. Sinking in quiet splendours of her sky, she lives a while to muse upon that hope, the brilliance of her rich receding gleam, a thoughtful prophecy of lyric dawn.